I'm curious about, given your experience over the years, what you've changed your mind about, if anything, regarding kind of what revolutionary love requires. And I'm wondering this in part because I know that, Nelson, you mentioned that this path requires growth. It's a path of personal growth, but it's also about collective growth, what it means for a people to grow, but it also requires personal growth and a commitment to that. And Joyce, I hear you talking about the need to have that kind of anchor within you that can be the source of resilience and hope and knowing that the struggle is worth it in the end, no matter what the outcome might be within your lifetime. So I'm curious. I know that for myself, when I was younger, um, I really viewed my engagement in social justice work and civil rights work and movement work, such as it was, is really about power and trying to win individual battles strategically by building power, sustaining power. Um, and that frame of mind worked well for me as a civil rights lawyer for many years. It worked well when I was involved in organizing and media advocacy to a point. And then a time came when I began to doubt whether we can ever win through power struggles and movement building alone unless we have a major kind of shift in consciousness, some kind of awakening to the dignity and humanity of one another. And I have been reading this book, Morningside, which is about the Greensboro Massacre in 1979 and the struggle in Greensboro, which the two of you are very much a part of, to get something like justice in response to that massacre, but also to build beloved community more broadly in Greensboro. And I was so struck reading the portrayals of the two of you in your youth and wondering, wow, like how much of the ways that they were thinking and approaching movement work then is similar to or different than it is now. And on the one hand, it is just so obvious, practically on every page, how fiercely committed, deeply committed both of you were. And the movement that you were part of was to doing justice, confronting the Klan courageously, and challenging the powers that be. And I'm really curious to hear whether you've changed your mind about anything in terms of your approach or not. And like, what are the lessons learned, I guess, about the path of revolutionary love and what it takes that you think you may have acquired over these decades? I was just fascinated and inspired to read the story.
I'm gonna let the preacher go first.
Amen. You know, life itself is a journey, and that there's a growth process that you tend to get stronger or weaker as you face the world. A lot of that is related to how you understand yourself, how you understand your neighbor, and how you understand the world itself. You know, and in a sense, I have always felt a certain hope, a certain possibility, but it was never alone. It was always over against not that hope and not that possibility. So that's the tension that you live in. And once you accept that, you know, it's an anchor in and of itself. In one of those chapters that you haven't gotten to yet, that I confronted the people who killed my best friend, and I did it on their terms. I went to them in a rural area about 50 miles from here, and I got frightened about halfway there, and I pulled over to the side of the road. It was springtime, and I looked at the blooming trees, and I don't know what it was about them, that gave me strength. That the winter was over and spring was coming. So I pressed ahead, and we had a confrontation in the sense that I was led into a room where a guy had a pistol on me the whole time I was there, trying to have a discussion about why they should not come back to Greensboro. The longer I was there, the more comfortable I got. In the sense that I was having a conversation with another human being. And actually, I was getting through to that human being and felt it. Because when I asked him, why are you coming back to Greensboro after you kill people like that? And he said, the Grand Dragon said, because y'all are raping our women. I said, listen to me, Carol. Look at the rainbow of Black people who are out here. You think all that came from Black men raping women? You know better than that. And I just pushed him on it. Said, you know better than that. And then he said that we were taking their jobs. And I was telling them the mills are going to Korea and to Mexico. There ain't no Black people down there taking no jobs. This is a whole international thing. And y'all are being misled into fighting the wrong people. Actually, I got him to listen for a minute or two. It didn't last too long. But I thought I was having a conversation with another human being. And so all of that's to say, we have the capacity to touch each other on a human level. At least we have that potentiality. And when you can do that, I think you should. And when you can't do it, you pray for somebody else to do it. You don't give up on the human species.
Did you always have that confidence?
Pardon?
Did you always have that faith, that confidence that you?
I think I had a corner of it. My grandfather was a slave in Louisiana, and my mother never tired of telling stories about my grandfather. And she named me after my grandfather. And in some sense, I carry that within me. But to answer your question, no, I've not always had that, but I've always had the potential to grow it. And I think most of us do. Most of us have the potential to grow it if we choose to do that. If that seemed like a path to us, for me, it did. I was trying to stop 100 Klansmen from marching in Greensboro, where I knew the opposition, who were my friends, would clash with them. And God only knows what would happen. So I felt that I was the only person in position to do what I did, as far as I know. Nobody called me up and said, I'll do this. And I did it without consulting with anybody, except Joyce. But anyway, that's a long story about pushing through the hardships on the one hand, and just the misinformation on the other, and the disbelief that human beings can change. I think they can. I think it's all about what are the conditions conducive to that change, and whether at a particular moment in time you can step into those conditions. And if that moment in time does not present itself, I wouldn't step into it, but it did present itself. If these folk had not been planning to come to Greensboro and march down Main Street, I would never have tried to meet with them. But these things converged, and I felt I had no choice because other lives were on the line. It wasn't just about me. Let me stop there. Otherwise, I might not.